You are not particularly fond of mutants. Having spent time in prison, the mutants there were frequently the most violent and bestial of the inmates. Imperial propaganda aside, your life experience has taught you to distrust the mutant. But you have also learned to take risks and seize opportunities when you see them. These pale, gaunt creatures cowered as the tech priest Anthrax bathed them in blinding light. However, their apparent leader is gesturing to you, almost as if he's asking for something. This may be a trap. It's possible that he could be luring you in close so you can be shivved, but not likely. Book and his beastmen were bigger, stronger, meaner, and better equipped. You don't know how many of them are out there lurking in the dark, but any kind of fight seems like it would come at a very high cost for this mutant tribe. You decide to risk interaction. You put away your weapons and keep your hands visible. You keep your eyes on the troglodytes as you slowly reach into your pocket for some ration bars. You had actually stolen these bars during the raids when you were stuck in the pit. They tasted like sawdust and motor oil, but they kept you on your feet. You slowly pull out a bar and offer it to the leader of the creatures. He tentatively reaches out before snatching it out of your hand with lightning reflexes. He sniffs it and bites off a piece. He turns and begins chittering to the others behind him, gesturing to the bar before taking another bite. Anthrax shook his head and made a subtle grunt of disapproval. Book had his bolter leveled at the pale wretches, but he watched in interest. You slowly reach into your coat and again pull out a fistful of bars for the tribe to see. A flurry of chitters runs through the group as a few of them forget their fear and move forwards, licking their thin, pale lips. You hold up your hand to stop them. You are pretty good at communicating with only gestures. In prison, you weren't allowed to talk when you were in lockdown, or after the lights went out, so it was useful to be able to have fairly complex conversations using only gestures. The power core you were searching for was likely inside the remains of an ancient factorum or power station. You tried to convey that you were looking for a big building. You hold your hands above your head and try to mime the shape of a large structure. Then you point to Anthrax to indicate tech, as well as his light. The building might still have power, after all. The leader seemed to have some trouble understanding the message, but he began gesturing back and forth as well. It took a little while, but you think he eventually got the message. The leader gestured to himself and to the rest of the tribe. He pointed farther down the pathway you all were walking, and then he pointed to Anthrax and made a gesture that looked like a gun firing. You had some guesses as to what he meant, but he motioned for you to follow him. You make it clear that he will only get the bars after you and your team find the building that you're looking for. You put the bars back into your pocket and close your jacket. You then roughly relate the conversation to Anthrax and Book.
You sure he understands? What's he trying to show us?
Yes, I have the reading. We know where the source of power is. I think these things should simply be disposed of, and we should just go about our business.
You're still confident in your team's ability to handle these creatures, and you're curious to see what the leader wants to show you. You follow his lead as he slinks ahead. Book and Anthrax gesture for the other creatures to stay back, and you couldn't agree more. They were cunning and quick. They had thief and pickpocket written all over them. You didn't get a murder vibe from this lot. They're far too scared of you. You follow the leader, and he begins climbing along a narrow pathway leading up higher into the cavernous underhive. You eventually reach a small outcrop, a sort of cliff, and you can see tiny twinkling lights beneath you, though you are still too far away to see much. Even Anthrax, with his array of sensors, was limited in what he could actually see below. The creature gestured for the group to stop. Then he picked up a fist-sized rock and hurled it into the darkness below. For a moment you were unsure of what the mutant was doing. But then there was a sudden burst of noise that shattered the eerie silence of the underhive. Boom, boom, boom! Your entire party leapt back away from the edge of the cliff as 2 sets of automatic las cannons opened fire on the rock. In the light of the muzzle flashes, you get a brief look at the outline of the power station. You can also see what look like more defense cannons surrounding the outside. After the sudden burst of noise, the cavern dipped back into utter silence. The leader of the pale mutants drew a horizontal circle with his finger, and then made another gesture indicating gunfire. You conclude that the whole complex is similarly defended, and communicate this to Anthrax and Book, as you hand over your promised ration bars. The leader quickly began distributing the bars out to the others in the tribe. You make a bit of a face as they eagerly eat the disgusting things. What were they eating normally that made corpse starch seem like a 5-star meal on a pleasure planet to them?
So how are we getting inside? I'm not sticking my face in front of those big guns. That's more firepower than we can handle.
If we can find a way to get in close, I should be able to disable the defense grid and allow us to get inside.
You're confident that you know how to disable a defense grid on a power station that could be thousands of years old?
The renegade tech priest shrugged in an uncharacteristically human manner.
Well, technology hasn't exactly changed too much in the past few thousand years. Sure, I think I can do it if I can access the network.
Book shook his head, annoyed.
I figured we'd be down here fighting gangers and monsters, not trying to break into a military facility. What about the skinnies?
He gestured to the mutants.
You think they know a way inside?
You look down into the darkness once more, and wonder if there might be a way of finding a weakness in the defenses. A blind spot of some sort. It might take some trial and error, and some rock throwing, but that's a possibility as well. So, the time has come for you to forge your own destiny. You are the main character of this story, after all. Do you want to go with Anthrax's plan, and try to find an access point where he can disable the defense grid? It could solve your problem very quickly. But the trouble is finding such a thing, and the ghoulish mutants will likely not be able to help you find it. Do you want to go with Book's plan, and try to enlist the help of the mutants again? They have demonstrated that they can be useful, but can you trust them to further help you into getting into the facility? They could lead you into a trap, and then help themselves to your belongings after you're dead. However, they haven't done so yet, and they could still be useful going forward. Do you want to try to use trial and error to test the defenses, and hope there's a way of getting into the interior of the power station, without having to deal with the automated defenses? Do you have a different plan? All of these options will be put into a poll in the Community tab. There will be a final option, which will be Other. Whatever comment gets the most likes below will be the other option. Good luck as you choose your fate. No man do they call me. My mother and my father, and all my comrades as well. Thank you all for listening to the latest entry for Kazazel's Merry Marauders. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like or comment below because it helps your legend grow throughout the galaxy. If you are new to this channel and would like to hear more stories about the scum of the galaxy seeking out their fortunes as pirates, please subscribe for more. If you have absolutely no idea what's going on, you can click on the Kazazel's Merry Marauders playlist to hear more about your adventures so far with the Drukhari Mad Lad Pirate Captain. If you would like to support me in my own endeavors to become a wealthy pirate overlord, you can follow the links to my Patreon or PayPal in the description below if you would like to donate on either of those platforms. Thank you all very much. No Man out.